SS Gentleman Dean Alejandro, and I am here for my 2-month post-op update on top surgery. The biggest thing that has happened, I guess I should say, is that I have been so triggered by my recovery process. I did not expect it. Like you guys already know, I didn't expect a lot of the post-op depression, a lot of the stuff that happened. I have been extremely triggered by recovery. I kind of talked about this on live on Instagram a couple of times, but I wanted to go ahead and really just do a video because it's getting worse. So I am, like I said, officially 2 months post-op from top surgery. I had a double incision. I also, as you can see, I had, basically they cut the top off. I also got my nipples. They were cut length and all the way around. So my nipples were completely reshaped. And I struggle. I struggle with this a lot. Being triggered. I have been so hesitant to really share this completely because it's just so personal. So, in 2015, I had a lumpectomy, and the reason I found it was actually I didn't find it. My ex, the transphobic one, she found it at the time. We woke up that morning. We were going to be going on a cruise to Alaska the next day, flying to Seattle and cruising out. And, we woke up that morning and she was touching my chest and she found a lump. And it went downhill from there. A lot of bad things happened. It took a couple of months. Had to get surgery, had to get a lumpectomy. I didn't know it. I basically thought it was cancerous up until last minute. It created a lot of issues with me. I decided to be completely quiet, independent with that. I didn't tell my family until I knew for sure if it was cancerous or not. It was a big issue, and going through it all myself, it was very difficult. So I had a lump about this big, on my chest, and it, recovering from top surgery, I did not experience this until maybe about, a month ago. So basically what had happened is I've had a lot of swelling, on the left side of my chest. It has been very consistent since I had the reveal. Like they say, when you go to your reveal, make sure you don't have high expectations, because when I looked down, I was crushed. When I had the reveal for top surgery and finally saw my chest, I looked down. As soon as I got to the hotel, I looked down and I wanted to cry, because my size, how I am, my left side is basically half the size it was before, So to me, it was very difficult to be going through all this, fighting so hard to not get the results that I wanted. And I was very hesitant to speak about it because, the doctor said swelling, so on and so forth, a lot of things changes. We've had a lot of problems with my doctor. We've had a lot of problems with healing. A lot of the, nurses gave me conflicting information. They didn't really tell me a lot of things about my drains. Not going to go too much more into that. But regardless, it had me feeling a mixture of alone. Not being able to find the, resources online did not help as well. So I've been kind of just dealing with it on my own and going through it. So getting into the triggered part of, recovery, like I said, it wasn't about until a month ago that I started getting triggered. Of course, I knew about the swelling and everything else, and I was okay with that because your body works in mysterious ways. I understand that swelling sometimes will go away. My big thing was, it hasn't changed since the day after surgery. So, that's one thing. But a month into it, I started getting my lymph nodes, of course, they've been swollen. They were a lot more swollen. And it's hard because we're supposed to massage it. So you're supposed to massage, the lymph nodes and everything else. But if you actually look, and I didn't get triggered until I actually looked. But if you look and you can actually see the indents of how swollen it is. And you can look and that is what is so triggering. It's so hard to try to take care of myself massage everything, do whatever I can and feel it. Because when I feel the lumps that I feel in my chest, it takes me instantly back to that moment when I thought I basically was going to die. And it's so strange to me because I fought so hard for top surgery and I knew it was going to make me feel better. So to be going through, you know, these things, these emotions from the past that I had blacked out that were so traumatic, and it's so apparent still, it's really difficult. It's very difficult. Now I'm struggling with recovery and, you know, feeling like I should be a lot further along than I am, you know, and every time I've reached out to my doctor and concerns, they kind of like brush it off and kind of do their own thing. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, trans healthcare not really being that well known. And we're just kind of, you know, going through this process, trial and error. Other biggest thing is that my right side is basically completely healed and has been completely healing faster than my left side. So you can see my right side, my nipple, it's completely out. Yeah. My left side, it is not. It is kind of like, if you look, you can't really see underneath it. You can't really, it's kind of, and if you see here, this dimple that I kind of have, it's because of the lumps. So it's so hard to be able to look at myself and see it. And sometimes now with some of my wardrobe, you can still see it. So it's very hard. The dysphoria is very real. But what is most difficult about it is being triggered every day by seeing that. And, you know, it doesn't get better until you take care of it. So just kind of in this like awkward process of like figuring that out. So I've talked about it briefly on my 9-month update, but I wanted to go ahead and, you know, tell you guys what happened now. So I sweat a lot more now that I've started taking tea. Obviously, my body is like lava. And I was at work and I was sweating a lot. And at this specific job, they don't know I'm trans, unless you're watching now, somehow. Surprise. But, you know, they didn't know. They don't know. And so we were doing a video shoot at a theme park, and I started sweating. Started sweating a lot. And I made sure to, like, you know, I made sure to prepare what I was wearing, that it would look okay and everything else, right? I didn't wear an undershirt because they told us specifically not to bring other clothes. So, you know, we're out there and we're doing the video shoot, start sweating, starts getting worse. I start noticing it. I start sweating more. And so what they had to do was they actually pulled me out of the scene and changed my shirt. Not a big deal, right? Well, mind you, me socially, I'm still adapting. So I still feel like I shouldn't have my shirt off in public. I'm still a little like shy, you know, with certain things. So basically what had happened was we were at a theme park. So there's hundreds of people around. This girl, you know, pulled me out of the scene. They kind of pulled me over. She's like, "Are you wearing an undershirt?" No. You know, so they kind of pulled me. We didn't have time to go to the bathroom. So they're unbuttoned. I was wearing an express button down. So it, you know, they're kind of pretty tight. So I'm like trying to think quick, trying to do whatever. She's like, "Hurry up, take your shirt off." And I'm thinking so many things right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people around me. Oh my gosh, my scars. Oh my gosh, they don't know I'm trans. Oh my gosh, what if I didn't have surgery? And I'm like freaking out, trying not to freak out because I don't want to make a scene, because it's like, sometimes I feel like I could give myself way more than other people would. So I just gotta like be cool like a cucumber, you know? So I'm like taking off my shirt, and I strategically take it from the bottom up, and I start this because I didn't want them to see my scars. So I kind of like went like this, and all of a sudden this girl is pulling off my shirt, and then there's this other one behind me, and she's ripping this one off, and I am like, oh my gosh, so one's ripping them off. And it was so strange because it was the first time I was shirtless out in public, and it was at a theme park for work when they don't know I'm trans. And it was these two strangers taking off my shirt. So it was like, holy crap, the first situation I've ever had with women ripping off my shirt. And it's just like, I was almost triggered because I was like, I'm so used to people not touching me because I would bind, and I wouldn't want people touching me. And why were strangers going to touch me anyways? One, that's weird, you know, but like two, it's like I'm used to having this guard up. So when I had people touching me, strangers, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just remember thinking right after that, like, thankfully I had top surgery, because what would have happened if I was wearing a binder? And I know they don't care. Like, I know that's not the point, that they're just doing their job in TV production, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But that's not the point. The point is that, you know, it takes one person to have a specific reaction, and then everyone else catches on. And I didn't want the directors or the other people or people I didn't want anyone to find out. So that was crazy. Like, I was shook. Like, and still thinking about it now, and to think that that was my first experience, like, being shirtless out in public, like, it's kind of crazy. But that shows how simple things, you know, in our community after changing, or having surgery or anything else, medically transitioning, we're still adapting to, you know, all those social habits that we've lived with for our entire life. Social changes have been the craziest. I've had a lot of problems with ingrown hairs around, like, my incisions. So they're kind of like, it's a mix of that, and I think my body is maybe rejecting the stitches, which is great, because I'll have a lot of stitches where you can actually see the marks, but my body was trying to push a couple of them out, and like there was pus all over the place, so it was kind of gross. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you share if you want. Make sure you definitely subscribe so you can see some of my other videos.